You're listening to the Snob OS podcast, the podcast for Apple snobs. Yo, this is Terrance Gaines, aka Brother Tech.
And this is Nica Montford, aka Tech Savvy Diva.
And welcome back to the Snob OS show, the show for Apple snobs, where we talk all things Apple and then some. We want to thank you for returning back to the show. This is episode 353 of our Snob OS show. And on this week's show, in the lowdown, we'll discuss Apple's newly discounted products. We'll explore how iPhone production picks up in India. I will ask Nica, would you use the Perplexity Computer? In second string, we're going to weigh in the pros and cons of using ChatGPT to do your taxes. And for the culture, we're going to take a closer look at the Magic City Hawks situation. And for all you iPhone users, we got a handy guide on how to take full page iPhone screenshots in the hookup. So we definitely want to welcome you back to another show. We always want to thank those folks who have been listening for thus far, to give them a special shout out. If you want to become a financial supporter, please go to patreon.com/snoboscast, become a financial supporter, and you'll get some little extra bonuses that you will not hear on this show, in addition to getting the show earlier than everybody else. So let's kick off the show. Like I mentioned, we are going to start in the lowdown, and I think on the heels of, or I don't know if this is in addition to, Apple's new products that they launched last week. They launched the MacBook Pro. They've launched the MacBook Neo. They launched the MacBook Air. They launched an iPad Air, and they did a revamp on the Studio display. And I want to say the MacBook Pro, I think, got a M5 chip.
And the
I think
new
I got
phone.
all those. Oh, and the new iPhone 17e, I think is what it was.
Which are all available today.
Okay. All right. If you are listening to our voice, that means you can go pick up any one of those devices, whether it be on apple.com or go into the store. But in with the new, out with the old. Apple clears out some space for the new products by discontinuing, I want to say 15 products.
That's insane.
Right. I'm just going to run down this list. Here are all the devices that have been recently discontinued by Apple. That don't mean you can't use them. That just means Apple ain't selling them, and you may not get any support. But if you're looking for a discount on some of these, now would be a good time to look into buying some of these, because if they're discontinued, that also could mean you could get them at a discount. So let me run through these. The iPhone 16e is discontinued. The iPad Air M3, both the 11-inch and the 13-inch. The MacBook Air M4, both the 13-inch and the 15-inch. The MacBook Pro M5, which is weird because I have the MacBook Pro M4 and that's still for sale, but they're getting rid of the M5.
Only the 14-inch in the 512 storage. Because I was like, they just announced a MacBook Pro M5. So I was like, wait a minute, what?
I'm pretty sure this has something to do with pricing and how they price things so they're not overlapping and making people choose which devices. Yeah. But again, we'll leave that up to the Apple heads for that. Another thing they're discontinuing is the MacBook Pro M4 Pro, which is the one I have. Okay, that makes sense now. I didn't read down far enough. Both the 14-inch and the 16-inch MacBook M4 Pro, the MacBook Pro M4 Max. So the whole MacBook Pro M4 line is out of here, both the 14 and the 16-inch. The Mac Studio with the M3 Ultra and the 512 gigs of memory is discontinued. The old Studio display with the A13 Bionic iPhone chip is gone. The Pro Display XDR, I'm assuming this is the first gen version. The Pro Stand that you can buy with it, and the Pro Display XDR Versa mount adapter. So that's that little adapter that you can hook on to. It's a universal adapter that you can hook on mounts so you can mount your monitors. Apple sold a specific one, but no longer.
It's out here.
Yeah. So what is your take on Apple discontinuing all these products? Is this par for the course, or is there something to be gleaned from these type of devices getting discontinued?
I think it's par for the course. They want everybody to focus on the new stuff. So the best way to get everybody to focus on the new stuff is to not make the last year stuff available. So you don't have a choice but to go and get the new. What I'm interested to see is how big of a discount, if any, it's going to be,
That's a
because you
good
have
question.
to believe they have inventory and they want to
Um,
get rid of it.
my guess is, and I think we did this story maybe a couple years ago. Apple has beefed up its partnerships with third party resellers. So my guess is the resellers are the
Get the
people that's going to buy it from Apple and then put it on their websites, whether it be one of the places I go is backmarket.com. Another place I go is Declutter, Decluttr. Another place I go is Buy Back World, BuyBackWorld, Buy Back World. So though, and now another one, Mac of all trades.
Do you
So
think any larger retailers may get these? Maybe something like a Micro Center, or they'll hand some off to Amazon?
that's a good question. I'm assuming Amazon's gonna grab some. And you bring up Micro Center. For those who don't know, Micro Center is almost like it is a Circuit City, almost like if you can remember Circuit City, similar to
Circuit
Best
City,
Buy.
Radio Shack.
Right, Radio Shack, where you can get all those computer parts,
Uh-huh.
all the computer accessories. It's a
Yeah.
good place to, but it's regional, right? It's
Yeah.
only in, we got two stores here, and then they're
Mhm.
like scattered all across the
Right. They're
country. But
very few.
right, but you're right. Those would be the type of resellers who would pick up some of these discontinued Apple products. It'll be interesting to see how, like you mentioned, how
How they
discontinued
price
these
them.
are as
Mhm.
compared to the new stuff, right?
Yeah.
If it's just a couple $100,
You
you
might as well
know,
get the new.
right. But if it's like four, five, $600 off, these, especially all the M chip
Mhm.
products, the iPad Air, the MacBook Air, the MacBook Pro, all of those,
Hmm.
you might get you a good deal on
I
a
wonder how much
computer.
they're gonna drop that Studio Display by.
That's still too expensive.
It's still it's still gonna be
They could
they could
drop it
drop
by
it by half, and it's
right.
still
It's still
probably
too
gonna be too
much,
much.
yeah, buddy. So, and I'll just go pick up a nice 27-inch, you know, pseudo name brand monitor and keep it pushing.
Right.
So, all right. So the next story I got is iPhone production picks up in India, which is not really a surprise in general because we've been talking about Apple looking to diversify their production anyway.
Mhm.
But I think this is specific because earlier this year, maybe even last year, Trump was toying with or even floated the idea on Truth Social that they're going to make Apple pay 25% tariffs. As a result, we saw Tim Cook doing his thing, whatever you want to call it.
Shucking and jiving, man.
we call it shucking and jiving, whatever you want to call it. He was doing that to
I don't know what the white version
possibly,
of that is.
yeah, I don't know either. I don't know. Y'all tell us. What is the white version of shucking
Shucking
and
and jiving.
jiving?
Tap dancing.
Yeah, maybe tap dancing, brown nosing. Maybe that's what it
It's
is.
probably brown nosing for them. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Anyway, back to the subject.
Tim Cook was, trying to, cozy up to this administration. We're assuming in hopes to avoid some of those tariffs.
Mhm.
That talk has not went away. I think Trump, as early as last week, mentioned something about Apple paying tariffs. So it sounds like, and quote me if I'm wrong, Apple is looking to diversify its production to India in order to avoid China tariffs. So I just want to read the story. According to Bloomberg, Apple increased iPhone production in India by 53% last year
Wow.
and assembled around 55 million devices in 2025. That's up from 36 million in 2024. Company now produces roughly one quarter of its iPhones in India. The goal is to reduce reliance on China to avoid US tariffs tied to trade disputes between the two countries. So let me ask, is plan A working or is plan B the diversifying the production of iPhone and other products? Is that a better bet than Tim Cook doing his thing to ease tensions between this administration?
I think so. I think it's better that he looks for other outlets, because as we've seen the first time, this administration was in office, and now the second time they've been in office, that they are unpredictable,
Sure.
emotional.
Sure.
They go on things at a whim. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see this number jump even more, because now it's not only because of the tariffs that with China that this administration may have issues with this war they started last week in Iran. China is now helping Iran, so that may even cause even more issues.
I know Tim
So
Cook is losing sleep at
he
night
is
trying to
he is
figure this
probably
out.
he is pacing up. He is put some tire marks on Apple Park, because it's one of those things where I think he thought that doing all that tap dancing, brown nosing, whatever you call it, with this administration was going to help him. And I think, honestly, I think it did help him, because we haven't
Okay.
really seen Apple prices rise. But I
Hmm.
think as more of this administration becomes even more unstable and unreliable, he has to have some other options. He can't put all his eggs in Trump basket, because we can see that basket can drop at any minute and all those eggs come crashing down. So it's good to have some options. If I were him, I'd have an option C, because that option A don't have too much stability behind it.
Yeah. Um, I get it. Being a CEO of one of the world's biggest and most profitable companies, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah,
I get it. Yeah, but it looked kind of weird that
very weird.
Cook Tim Cook was doing all that. So I would have went with Plan B 5 years ago. But
And they're
again,
working on a plan C during
right,
that
right.
time too.
Yeah, companies that big can't turn on a dime. So I get it. It probably is easier for him to, you know, kiss the ring or whatever,
Right.
in the immediate term, because
Right. But in
doing
the
that,
long term,
right, right.
you gotta have some other options, because
Yeah,
this
buddy.
this shit is looking shaky, man.
All right, moving on to the next story. There is a such thing called a Perplexity personal computer, and basically it's a cloud-based AI agent that you can actually get running on a Mac Mini, or specifically a Mac Studio. The company is taking the concept a step further with an implementation it calls personal computer. This version, quote, works with a Mac Mini that runs continuously, merging your local applications with Perplexity Computer. So basically, what this is I think we talked about this maybe a couple weeks ago, how the Claude code or the Claude bot or whatever that was, people were actually taking that open source AI software and installing it, kind of homebrewish
Yeah.
on a Mac Mini. So therefore, they can have their own personal in-house on-premise, for all my IT heads out there, an on-premise AI personal computer, to where you can, use it from your network, run all your tasks, whether it be personal assistant stuff, helping you develop code, whatever the case may be. Perplexity is another AI company, and they have actually they've taken that step and actually made it more official. The Claude Code thing was more open source, versus this is a product, right?
Right.
And I don't know if you can buy the computer or you have to supply the computer. Either way, Perplexity has a specific service that they'll give you the resources, they'll give you all the instructions,
Hmm.
they'll give you all the steps to where you can either download or set up this Perplexity personal computer to run on a Mac Mini or a Mac Studio in your house. The same thing, connected to a network, set everything up, and then you can run your personal AI assistant on your own network on premise. So I guess the question to you, as for somebody who sounds like they would play around with something like this, would you do something like this? And then do you see other companies like ChatGPT, Gemini, some other ones kind of following suit and giving you the option of saying, hey, you can run our personal assistant in the cloud, but also you can do it locally on your own network?
So I think this is smart of Perplexity to do, because a lot of people were building their own AI agents. A lot of people do it now,
Mm-hmm.
and they put the very thing that Perplexity is offering. tons of people were doing it on their own.
Right.
They would take, whether it be the AI agent they created, where they took another one and kind of modified it. And like I said, I think, like you said, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, people were kind of daisy chaining, these Mac minis because they are so inexpensive, but they're so powerful. And they were stacking 3 or 4 of them up, and they had these super powerful machines running these agents locally. And so it makes sense for someone like a Perplexity to do this because, one, they have the name recognition and they have the buy-in, the technical buy-in as a company to do this. And there are plenty of people who want to have their own personal AI agent running locally, but they
Mhm.
didn't know how to create it themselves. They seen people talking about it on social media because the Open Claude, before it was Open Claude, and
Mhm.
then Anthropic, who runs Claude, was like, "Nah, you got to change that name, bro,
Mhm.
because it sounds like ours. Even though you changed the
Mhm.
letter, it still
Mhm.
sounds like ours. So no, you got to do something." And so again, people are using different versions. They were using, of course, ChatGPT. I
Mhm.
know Goose, who is that is through Block. Their NPC is really good as well, and people are kind of customizing it to do that. So it's smart of them to roll this kind of neat package out to say, "Hey, we know you want to do it. You've been seeing other people do it, but you may not be quite sure. You don't want to break anything. You don't want to mess anything up. Here's an easy, packaged, nice and neat way from a company who has, industry recognition and industry buy-in." I want to use a different word than buy-in, but it's kind of eluding me. But in that case, yes, I see where people would find this appealing. For me, the appealing part would be building it myself, because when the Claude bot first came out, I was like, hell yeah, I'll build this. I have a Mac Mini that I don't even use anyway, kind of just sitting over there collecting dust, and I was like, I'll try it out and see. Then all the issues started coming. I was like, yeah, let me pump my brakes and wait. But for people who want to go ahead and get into it, absolutely, this makes perfect sense. And to me, the key thing of this is, and I think the what people liked the most about it is, you're running it locally on
Mhm.
your own machine that you control.
Mhm.
And a lot of the issues that people were having with Claude Cowork was that we were giving, Cowork access
Mhm.
to your files, but oops, if they delete them, it's like
Mhm.
oopsies, it's gone. But if it's on a machine that's local that you control, if something does go awry, you have a better chance of being able to recover it or roll it back, as opposed to something that you just kind of put together. So I think
Right.
it's smart that they're kind of jumping on this first. And I do think other people are going to jump on this as well. And then the um, the hype around is going to crash because it's going to be too easily available, and then people are going to start adding things on top of it, trying to make
Of
money
course they
from
are.
it.
I mean, that's what
and
they're gonna do,
then and
right?
then like it's going to be like, okay, we don't want to do this anymore. Then the next thing will come and kind of
Right.
take it over. But
So
while Perplexity getting in early and jumping in early, they'll get the most benefit out of this
right. So I just
financially.
wanted to read this tweet from the Perplexity CEO. His name is Aravind Srinivas. I totally
Okay.
butchered your name, my bad. And I just wanted to hint on the thing that you mentioned about being your own computer and your own server and your own network, right?
Hmm.
Um, it's a persistent digital proxy for you. It's in a secure environment and controllable from any device anywhere. It works with a Mac Mini that runs continuously, merging your local applications with Perplexity Computer. It runs on Perplexity secure server, similar to Apple's cloud compute. Every single action requires your approval. Every action is logged in a full audit trail, and there's a kill switch. And you control the personal computer from anywhere while the computer works from your desktop, never sleeps. It's a personal, more powerful than any AI system ever launched. So that is the tweet. My question, my additional question is, if Perplexity can do this on a Mac Mini, how come Apple hasn't figured out how to do this? Why are they still him hawing around about Apple Intelligence and Siri AI when there are other companies, we just mentioned two, who
Mm.
are taking Apple's hardware and putting their own software and services on top of it? I read this one. It was like, this sounds like something Apple should have done instead of trying to force everything into the cloud compute. And then, I feel like they were in a rush, and I
Mhm.
believe they should have taken their time,
Mhm.
and they probably would have came up with something like this. But they were in such a hurry for the AI arms race. They tried it. It didn't work as well as they thought it was. And they said, we ain't got time for it. And then, kind of contracted half of it off to Google Gemini. I think it's interesting to see how other companies taking their time, running their own software and services and kind of merging it with Apple's hardware. Not want to say making Apple look bad, but this just seems like something Apple should have done. And I'm curious as to why they didn't.
And I think you hit the nail on the head. They were they got so outside of who they were, they being Apple, and they were trying to compete in a space that they didn't necessarily have to. And all of their focus went to Apple Intelligence. And I think when they locked in on that, they didn't leave room for themselves to think of other routes. And the benefit of these other companies is they don't have the same weight that Apple has on them.
Yeah,
So they could play around with
sure,
this. They
sure.
could try this different hardware. And the thing is, Apple makes superb hardware. And people can put their software on this hardware and it runs extremely well. And so I think that's why these other companies got the jump on this and got the benefit on it, because they saw what Apple attempted to do, which was a great attempt, which was, I think, a noble effort.
First attempt. Yeah.
Right. But when you carry that crown that's so heavy,
Yeah.
if you swing and you miss,
Yeah.
it's like everybody is on your
Sure.
ass.
Yeah, their stuff was gonna get dissected
It was gonna,
anyway.
right. But
Anyway.
companies like a Perplexity, companies like Claude, or even just people who are have ingenuity to be able to say, hey, let me try this and see if it works. And a lot of people were creating these agents on these. They made these Mac Minis so well and
Mhm.
so powerful. People's like, hey, I can run my own thing. But again, I think Apple was just so laser focused on the path that they chosen. It didn't give them any off ramps to try anything else, and other people did. And they could do it in the comfort of not being the king. And so they could do that. And this is
Mhm.
why we have what this is. And this is why I think other companies will do it. And honestly, at this point, I'm a little, I'm not sure, but I'm kind of on the on the hinge. On one part, I say Apple shouldn't take this approach because other people are doing it, and it honestly makes it look like they're chasing other people when
Mhm.
people are used to chasing them. But at the same time, if they can come up with something like this that comes built, if they can sell separate units already loaded, already set up, already to buy, they can sell their own AI agent Mac Mini with everything already set up with Apple hardware, with Apple technology. All you got to do is plug it in and it syncs with your other Apple devices. It works in the ecosystem. It could be really great. And I think it'll come down to if Apple's ego will allow them to do that. I don't
Mhm.
know.
Mhm.
But it's kind of one of those things where it could kind of go either way.
Right. All right. Well, we shall see. All right. That's all I got for the lowdown. We're going to move into second string. And speaking of AI, would you consider using Chat GPT to do your taxes? Again, of course, as with anything, any other company, they're trying to put AI everywhere. Of course, tax services are offering their own AI powered tools to streamline tax filing, including automatic form filling and deduction calculators, as well as on site AI assistants to answer basic tax questions. According to the story, around 30% of Americans say they will use an AI tool such as ChatGPT to help prepare their taxes. According to a recent survey by McAfee, another poll found that nearly half of Americans trust AI to give them tax advice. Those rates are higher among younger taxpayers and men, according to surveys. They didn't mention women, so I will ask you: would you allow? Would let me get specific. Would you upload your personal financial tax W-2 income expenses reports, all of your financial data, 401ks, IRAs, pensions, all of the information that you normally work with a tax preparer to submit to get to file your taxes? Would you give that to ChatGPT so she can or he can, depending on how objectify your chatbot? Would you give all that information to ChatGPT to make your tax season easier?
Hell no. And as a person who is in on AI,
Uh-huh.
listen, let me tell you, I've said before, I use Claude. I enjoy it. I think it's the best product for me.
Mhm.
And I even asked I asked it the other day. I was like, "Do you consider yourself a chatbot? Do you consider
Mhm.
yourself an LLM?" And they basically said, "No, that's too simple for what we
Oh
are."
my
It
goodness.
was like, "I think of myself as a thinking partner." And AI is too, did they call it reductive? I mean, they were like, it felt like it was offended that I would call it a chatbot. But I say all this to say, even though I have more comfortability with giving information to Claude, like say if I upload like my resume and say, hey, can you tweak my resume? I
Mhm,
take
mhm.
all of my PII off. I take off my
Oh,
name. I take off my
oh,
phone number. I take
okay,
off my email. I take off
okay,
my I take off any identifying information
okay.
from it. So, and if I do that with something that I use on the regular, I would not, no one, I mean,
Mhm,
I'm not gonna tell you what to do. Y'all grown, you can do whatever you want.
mhm,
I personally would not put my social security number,
mhm,
I would not put any other identifying information, because a lot of times, see, I have my credit frozen, and I
mhm.
have my tax thing frozen. So I have to have a PIN when
Right.
I submit my taxes.
Sure.
And I do that. And if you try and set that up, it asks you for specific line item information on your taxes to be able to do
Mhm.
all that. And I say all that to say is, to me, Chat GPT's back end is not very reliable.
Okay.
It's not something that I would trust with that type of information. People are uploading their medical data.
Mhm.
Again, you are feeding the monster.
Right.
And all of this is going onto a server to be saved
Mhm.
and trained
And possibly hacked.
and possibly hacked. And we saw before, we talked about it maybe 6 months ago,
Mhm.
where it was some kind of weird indexing they were doing
Mhm.
on ChatGPT where your chats were searchable. People outside of you were able to go into a web browser and they were able to search different people's chat sessions.
Mhm.
And so it's one thing to use AI to help you with your taxes.
Mhm.
You can do, I know it's expensive if you use, what is it, TurboTax or Tax Act or whatever.
Mhm.
It costs you all of this extra money to file them. And I'm sure they now have those H&R Block. They have like an online thing now. I'm
Mhm.
sure they have chat and AI assistants built in as you do them. To
Mhm.
me, that's more secure,
Mhm.
because that's a part of the company's ethos. That's what they do. They do taxes. So they know how to secure data, even though no one is above being hacked. But
Right.
there's a certain level uh, of of care that I think goes into it. I don't know if,
Experience.
yeah, and I don't know if that care is
Right.
with Chat GPT. And what we've recently seen they're willing to do to give to the government,
Mhm.
it just makes me really leery
Mhm.
of giving anything to them. And like I said, I'm not going to say I don't use ChatGPT, because ChatGPT is really good for creating AI images.
Mhm.
Claude, you can't create images over there. They're like, no, we won't do that over here. So if you're trying to do stuff like that, you can go over there. There's sometimes if I want to check some information or some feedback that I'm getting from Claude. I was like, let me pop it over into Gemini or pop it over into ChatGPT to kind of see what they're saying. But I say all to say no. I would not give ChatGPT this information.
Yeah. So I wouldn't either, for all the reasons that you mentioned, specifically just giving ChatGPT anything and everything.
Yeah.
They haven't fleshed all that out yet.
Yeah.
I was going to say, to play devil's advocate, a lot of people entrust that same information to tax software, like you mentioned, Tax Act and H&R Block and TurboTax. Again, but you mentioned it. The difference is they've been doing this for quite a long time, right? They've gotten so good to where, for instance, my daughter, she can file her own taxes on her
She has a
phone.
job.
Yeah, she did it last year. Got like $20, $30 back. This time she's probably expecting a little bit more because she worked a little bit more, right? So again, me trying to prepare her for the future, I'm not doing your taxes. You do your taxes,
Oh
so
man.
look, I don't play. I do not play. I'm not about to send you out in the world, you not knowing nothing, right? So, I'll sit down, I'll kind of help her out. I'll sit next to her. But like the whole process takes 20, 30 minutes, takes
Especially
a
for
picture.
her.
Right. She ain't making, thousands and thousands of dollars a year.
She's not
right?
itemizing.
Yeah, she ain't got a lot of expenses, all that stuff. So all she got to do is upload her W-2, enter her personal information, answer a couple questions, boom, she's done, right? I say all that to say they've gotten so good at it to where teenagers can do their taxes in about 20 minutes to a half hour, right? I don't know ChatGPT's got all that, right? So, they are still trying to figure things out. So I wouldn't trust them for that because they're inexperienced. Number two, I still am not sure how I feel about them training their models off of my data, right? Anytime I get a new computer, whether it be Apple or whatever, they say, share your information with developers. Nope, I don't even
Never
do
share
it. Just because I'm non-trusting like that, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not trusting, these other companies with that. And the third reason, because everybody gets hacked.
Yeah.
And,
It's only a matter of time.
It's only a matter of time. And depending on, they're still learning, they're still growing, they're still trying to figure things out. Last thing they need is somebody to hack millions and millions of data because, we're in our pre-infancy phase and they ain't locked everything down because they haven't been in the game long enough. We've only been talking about AI for like 3 years now. That ain't long enough for them to have fortress level security that somebody can't slide in there and get some information. So for all those reasons, it's a no for me, dog. Right.
And the other thing is, for those who use ChatGPT, it has all of your other things. So, I mean,
you gave it everything.
You voluntarily gave it everything. And my thing is, it's already pretty easy to steal somebody's identity, unfortunately, because, nefarious people, they're some really smart people. If they were to use their smarts for good, they could really, do some life-changing stuff, but they choose not to. But all that to say is, you have a full profile of who you are, what you do, where you live, what you like, where you go on vacation, what medical issues you have, because you're asking it, hey, if I have, these symptoms here, what might it be? I mean, all of this stuff. It has,
hallucinations are still real.
yeah.
And imagine if you get audited and the IRS come to you and say, hey, how did you prepare these taxes? Well, AI said, they're going to be like, you know what? Get up out of here. ChatGPT told me that I could itemize this and that. And I'll get up out of here.
And you won't get any reprieve from that. The same way attorneys are using ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is making up precedents and cases, and these people are submitting it to court without even reading through it. People are firing their attorneys and saying ChatGPT could do it, and you using these tools, this technology does not absolve you from any type of legal ramifications.
Recourse.
The courts is not going to give a shit that you use ChatGPT and you didn't know. You should have knew. Hire somebody. Why are you using this? You're trusting something that you can't 100% trust and doesn't have any accountability back to you. Right. If you have an actual attorney and they mess up, you can go and point to that attorney and say, they did this, they're the
Mhm.
professional, they're supposed to know. It is
Mhm.
not my fault that they did X, Y, and Z. You using ChatGPT, it's all on you, bro.
Right.
It's all on you.
Yep. And for those reasons, it's a no for me, dog. All right. So that is going to do it for second string. We're going to move into for the culture. And this hits a little bit close to home. Next week,
Mhm.
the Atlanta Hawks were playing. They still are playing the Orlando Magic. But Atlanta Hawks came up with a unique idea to partner with one of the long-standing
Iconic.
uh, iconic jewels,
Landmarks.
landmark, if you will, of Atlanta, and they were going to dub themselves the Magic City Hawks in collaboration with the Magic City Gentlemen's Nightclub. Now, they weren't going to have any sort of performances, but
From the
it,
ladies.
right, but
PI was
Atlanta.
going to perform.
Right. And I would say they were going to launch some merchandise, get you some nice hoodies, and the hoodie was dope. I
I
almost
ordered it.
considered
I'm waiting
did
for it
you
to
get
come.
one? I was going to buy one and but
It shipped Friday. I just keep waiting for it to show up.
okay, all
One of my
right.
cousins ordered theirs
Uh-huh.
and she got hers on Monday. And my
Did
other
she?
cousin, he hasn't got his. And I'm just like,
I should have
Friday.
got one because it was fly. Now they're probably even in more
Demand.
demand.
And I hate myself. You had it was when you ordered it was a two um limit you could buy. I only bought the
Mhm,
one when I was doing. I was like, maybe I should buy two. And I was like,
mhm,
that'll be a waste. Why would I buy another one? I should have bought the second one
mhm,
because I could sell
because
that for a mint
a NBA player named Luke Cornett,
from the Spurs.
no name person from the Spurs, called on the Atlanta Hawks to cancel their upcoming collaboration with Magic City, saying that he and other NBA players were surprised by the team's decision to promote the adult entertainment club. San Antonio Spurs Center wrote on Monday that allowing the March 16th event during the Hawks game against Orlando Magic, quote, would reflect poorly on us as an NBA community, specifically in being complicit in the potential objectification and mistreatment of women in our society, so on, so on, and so forth. So that kind of sparked, I don't know if that sparked, but that was one of the main,
Yeah, he wrote
um,
a blog post on
yeah,
his little blog.
he was the one of the main,
He
nah,
was the
this ain't a
first
good
person to say
idea.
something about it.
Right, right,
Um,
right. So, fast forward, a lot of conversations happened over the course of a couple days. The NBA has canceled the Atlanta Hawks' plans for a celebration of the city's Magic City Adult Entertainment Club, saying this past Monday, that it was responding to concerns from many across the league. The event was supposed to happen next Monday. It's still going on. The game is still happening, but the original plan was to let me get down here. They were going to of course, like we mentioned, they had some merchandise. In addition to that, they were going to do a podcast between the Atlanta Hawks owner and the owner of the nightclub, and they were going to have some special lemon pepper wings as a part of the menu for the game. So the merchandise, I think they kind of closed that down. So I'm sad that didn't happen. They're not doing this collaboration slash podcast slash interview between the Atlanta Hawks owner and the current owner of the nightclub and some other little things. They're still going to have the game. Ti is still going to perform. So they're probably going to do all the things without I guess the NBA specific stuff.
yeah.
So I just wanted to get your take on this whole thing. Um, how do you feel about a professional NBA team doing this type of collaboration? Do you feel that this is furthering the objectification of women, so on and so forth?
So when I first saw the image of the hoodie going out, I was like, oh my God, I need this right now. And
Mhm,
so it took a minute to find information about it. It was on like Yahoo, I think. And originally, the hoodie was only going to be available on the 16th at the
mhm,
Hawk store
mhm,
at State Farm. You were going to be able to order the hoodie, but it was only going to be like a couple days before the
mhm,
game. And so it got so much traction on social media, they ended up doing the pre-order on the 28th of February. And one of my cousins, he was like, oh my God, the pre-order is up now. As soon as she sent me the link, I clicked on the link, I purchased it, I sent it to another cousin and said, hey, get on this before it it sells out.
Yeah, I'm kicking
And
myself.
so the hoodie is dope. And I was like, yes. And then I actually started looking for tickets to see. I was like, maybe I'll go to the game. It's not a bad day. It's fun. And when I looked after all this happened, there were maybe 100 seats left in
Mm,
the whole arena, and they
mm,
were all resale. The original seats all got snapped up
mm,
because of this promotion. And I was on DTNS actually on Thursday.
mhm,
And I talked about, we talked with, we're kind of like just doing a little chatter before the game. And
mhm,
I was like, this is what happens when outsiders come into Atlanta business.
mhm.
This isn't just a strip club. This
Right.
isn't just, you know, what they think. I was like, there's a whole Magic City kitchen
Mhm.
because the food is so good.
Right.
I was like, sure, it is a
Adult
strip club,
entertainment. Right.
adult entertainment, but is legal.
Mhm,
Everybody in there is legal. You have to be of age to go in there, so it's
mhm.
not like it's something that's different.
Seedy,
Right,
dark alley,
right,
stereotypical what you see in the movies type of deal.
right. And I
Right.
think the people who are trying to get involved in this,
Mhm,
they don't understand. And the guy who did this white guy, like I said, from the Spurs, who I don't know why he decided to jump on this because every game,
mhm. That's what I was gonna
every
say.
sports
For
show,
sure, sure.
it has fantasy football, fantasy gambling. It
Mhm,
has whether it be DraftKings, FanDuel, whoever they are,
mhm,
it's all on the screen.
mhm,
But they also put the thing, this is, if you get addicted, go get help.
mhm.
The alcohol.
Sure.
Strip clubs are nothing new to sports entertainment
Well, you didn't even mention the fact that the NBA cheerleaders go out there in their little skimpy outfits
and
and do
pop,
their
pop,
little
pop it.
dances
Yeah.
with kids watching. And this guy and other people have no problems with the gambling, with the alcohol, with the objectification of women
And the
in the
violence against women from its own players.
right.
Let's
They've
not
been
forget that.
he ain't spoke out on none of them players that have got caught up with
Spitting
domestic
in the girl's
violence.
face,
Hey, come
raping
on.
people, underage kid, all this
Come
stuff. But
on.
it's just now, oh my God, we're worried about the
Mhm.
women folk. We don't want to see them. But the people who are working in the strip club, they're grown adults who have autonomy over their body. They're professionals. There's even like a strippers union. I think the strippers union even came out and said something.
Look at that.
I swear to God. I swear to God.
Mhm.
So it's one of those things where it's very funny that people, one outside of our community, and when I say our, I'm not just speaking of Black, I'm speaking of the Atlanta culture because we know
Mhm.
Atlanta moves things.
Mhm.
And white people, Black people, Asian people, everybody in this city, everybody in
Mhm.
this state
It's familiar.
knows
Right.
about Magic City. Magic
Right.
City isn't even far from the stadium. People
Mhm.
go to celebrate. Atlanta United, when they won, they took the trophy and they went into there taking pictures,
Mhm.
stepping, having a good time. So it's just one of those things where you don't come to this point without the NBA knowing. That's my other thing.
Mhm.
This is NBA licensed merch.
Mhm.
You cannot tell me that when they came up with this promotion, when they came up with the merch, that it wasn't sent through to the NBA to get approval.
Mhm.
And now Adam Silver's punk behind gonna come back now and say, well, gosh, it just makes us. No, this is the least thing that makes look bad. And the other thing
Out of
is,
all the things.
out of all the things that can make
Right.
you look bad, and
Right.
and this is about wings, this is about merch, this is about music and
Culture.
culture.
Mhm.
This ain't if this is bothering your kids, it's a Monday night anyway. During
Mhm.
the week, your kids shouldn't be at the game. No way.
Right. It's school night.
It's a school night. And I know you got kids. I have
Mhm.
nieces and nephews. They're kids that I love. But your kids don't have to be considered in everything.
Well, I think it's just like I said, it's very hypocritical
Very.
and it's low hanging fruit, right?
Yeah.
Speaking
And
out
one other thing before you go. the thing with the owner and the podcast with the owner and
Mhm.
with T.I., I think,
Mhm.
and then with the Magic City owner,
Mhm.
this was all tied into the documentary that
Mhm.
is being produced with Jermaine Dupri,
Mhm.
Jamie Gertz, who is the principal owner of the Hawks. All of them are involved in this big documentary about Magic City that's
Mhm.
coming out. And it was kind of like in partnership to
Sure.
promote the documentary, to promote the game. So it was like all these things tied in together. It's just not about, women being naked
Promoting
on a
strippers.
pole. Right.
Right. I just it's just hypocritical. The whole thing
Very.
is hypocritical, and it's low hanging fruit, like I mentioned.
Absolutely.
It's easy to point the finger at, or draw ire against, not the least of us, but I don't want to minimize, sex work or adult entertainment rather.
Right.
But at the same time, it's an easy target,
Yeah.
and it's easy for somebody to say,
To get people
ooh,
riled up about it.
I don't like that. That's immoral. That's unethical. And
Yet
like
we
you
got a whole
mentioned,
administration full of people who are out here assaulting kids,
and
and
I
ain't
don't
nobody
hear
saying nothing.
and I don't hear your boy talking about any of that stuff.
None
So
of it.
which
And also, forget you, Al Horford. You used to live here. You used to play here. And the nerve of you to jump on this bandwagon, stay
you
wherever you
know,
at and stay out from over here. Go wherever
yeah,
you
it's
at,
like I
punk.
said, if you're going to speak out on this, you
Speak out
should
on it
also
all.
be speaking out on some other stuff directly related to
Right.
the NBA, not just societal,
Call
cultural,
your other players out.
non-basketball stuff.
Call your
Yeah.
teammates out. If it's so bad on the NBA,
Yeah.
call out these other players. Call out the
Mhm.
league
Mhm.
to have more protocol and protections for gambling, for players assaulting and harming women and children.
Yep.
Don't go after something like you said that's low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
That's not causing any harm to anybody.
Yep. All right.
Go ahead.
So that's
I'm gonna
gonna
wear my
do it.
hoodie with pride.
Yeah. That's going to do it for the culture. We're going to move into the hookup, and this is something new to me. I'm pretty sure a lot of people already know about it, but I'm just going to share it anyway with a little caveat. So, if you need to take a screenshot of a web page and the information that you're trying to fit into the screenshot is a little you can't get it into the screenshot, there is a way to take a full page screenshot, and it's pretty simple. Take a screenshot however you normally take a screenshot, but before you save it to your iPhone or whatever, you want to click the save or choose full page option. That will save the entire page that you're on. The caveat is, instead of saving it to your iPhone, because I tried this, when I saved it to my iPhone, I couldn't scroll the whole
It
page on
crops
the
it.
screen.
Yeah.
It gives you this long
Mm.
picture that you can't zoom in. I thought I could maybe zoom in and then scroll up to get to where I need to. You can't even do that with the images. The caveat is, you want to save the PDF to your files. If you save the screenshot as a PDF to the Files app, you can open up Preview on your iPhone, and then you can scroll down the whole entire page, screenshot again a specific piece, or get the phone number, whatever you're trying to get. So
Mm.
that's my hookup for the week. It's not a surprise that you can take full page screenshots from a web page on iPhone, but the caveat is, you want to save it as a PDF to files as opposed to saving it as an image, because when you save it as a PDF, that gives you more functionality after you've saved it.
Yep.
So that is my hookup for the week, and that means that is it for this week's show. Nica, tell the folks where they can find you.
You can find me at Tech Savvy Diva everywhere.
And you can find me all over the internet at Brother Tech. That's BROTHATECH. To connect, comment, share, get all the information, listen to the podcast, support our show, please go to snoboscast.com. Get all that information there. And until next week, we are out. Peace.
Bye, everybody.